this book. Several weeks ago, we started reading Dragon Slayers Academy's A New Kid at School, where we learned that Wiglaf is trying to become a hero by learning how to slay dragons. So far, he has only been to school for half a day, and he is already on his first assignment to kill the famous fire-breathing dragon of Gorzil, the very dragon that no knight, no hero has ever slayed before. And even though Wiglaf has only had 3 classes so far at Dragon Slayers Academy, he is sent off anyway to kill Gorzil. So we must find out if Wiglaf will be successful in killing Gorzil, the famous dragon. So let's read the last couple of chapters together. Chapter 8. The sun dawned on Wiglaf and Eric outside the mouth of Gorzil's cave. With trembling fingers, Wiglaf finished tying his lucky rag to Shirkil's hilt. If ever he needed luck, it was now. Wiglaf adjusted Gawain's baggy tunic and trousers. Then he glanced over at Eric, who was wearing Zelda's sky blue dress. His brown hair peeked out from under her white lace cap. I was wrong to think you would not pass for a daughter of the village, Eric, Wiglaf said. Eric only nodded. That lace cap suits you, Wiglaf went on. If I were a dragon, I should believe you were a girl, and a fetching one at that. Enough, Eric snapped. Keep your thoughts on Gorzil. Just then a cloud of smoke billowed out of the cave, and a voice inside boomed. I smell breakfast. Wiglaf and Eric hid their swords behind their backs as a huge green snake-like head poked out from the smoke. The dragon's eyes blazed orange. Steam rose from his jaws. Yellow slime dripped from his nose. Wiglaf had never seen anything so hideous. So this was Gorzil. Wiglaf thought back to the minstrel's tale. He gripped his sword more tightly. He hoped that Gorzil would not soon be using Shirkil for his toothpick. Here is a picture of Wiglaf and Eric and Gorzil the dragon, how they're going to try to slay Gorzil. Gorzil puffed 2 smoke rings from his nose. What luck, he exclaimed. Here are a tasty little son and daughter of the village, and here is Gorzil hungry for breakfast. Daughter, have you any last words to say to Gorzil? Eric stepped forward. He whispered something, but even Wiglaf could not hear what it was. What? What? Gorzil said. Speak up, girl. But Eric only whispered again. The dragon stepped out from the cave. Slime trickled from his nose. It spattered on the ground in greasy yellow puddles. He lowered his head close to Eric. Now, Gorzil can hear better. What did you say, my delicious cookie? I am not your cookie, Gorzil, Eric shouted into the dragon's ear. I am your worst nightmare. And he whipped his sword from behind his back. An angry red crest rose from Gorzil's head. Sparks shot from his nose. They scorched the hem of Eric's dress. Then Gorzil raised the tip of his tail over his head and whacked Eric's sword out of his hand. Wiglaf and Eric watched it sail off into the woods. Uh-oh, Eric said. He ducked behind a nearby boulder. Quick, Wiglaf, he called. Draw your sword. Wiglaf stared up at the monster before him. He tried to remember what he had learned in his one and only slaying class. But Gorzil was no dummy dragon with a target painted under his chin. He was the real thing. With a quivering hand, Wiglaf brought Shirkil out from behind his back. The dragon gazed at the rusty thing and chuckled. Shirkil, Wiglaf said, slay the dragon. Shirkil did not move. Shirkil is the name of his sword. Shirkil, Wiglaf tried again. Do the dragon in. Shirkil made no thrust. Yellow flames began to flicker from Gorzil's nostrils. Shirkil, Wiglaf yelled. Help! In the blink of an eye, the sword leaped out of Wiglaf's hand. It glowed red hot as it soared up into the air. Gorzil stopped flaming. Wiglaf and Eric and the dragon all stared as Shirkil rose higher and higher into the clouds. They waited for it to reappear, but the sword had vanished. At last, Gorzil fixed his gaze back on Wiglaf. Too bad, he chortled. Now it's breakfast time. Gorzil opened his terrible jaws. Any second, Wiglaf knew lightning bolts would strike him. If only I had more time, he thought. Time enough to discover Gorzil's secret weakness. But how? Wiglaf racked his brain. But he could think of nothing. Nothing. At last, Wiglaf opened his mouth, and over Gorzil's thundering roar, he yelled the first thing that came to his mind. Knock, knock! Instantly, the thunder stopped. A joke, the dragon cried. There's nothing Gorzil likes better than a good joke. Breakfast can wait. All right, who's there? Lettuce, Wiglaf managed. Lettuce? Gorzil snorted a puff of smoke. Lettuce? Gorzil can guess. Easy, oh foo. Lettuce who? Lettuce alone, Wiglaf answered. Oh, Gorzil groaned. That was a bad joke. Really bad, Eric called from behind the rock. Gorzil hates bad jokes, the dragon added. In fact, Wiglaf thought that the dragon looked slightly ill. Try again, son of the village, Gorzil ordered. Tell Gorzil another joke, but make it a good one. All right, Wiglaf said. Knock, knock. The dragon perked up. Gorzil will get this one. Who's there? Arthur, cried Wiglaf. Arthur? Oh, yes. Oh, pooh, Arthur who? Wiglaf answered. Arthur, any dragons uglier than you? Ah! Gorzil cried. That was even worse. Wiglaf noticed that Gorzil's bright orange eyes had faded. His scales were no longer a brilliant green. The dragon looked the way Wiglaf felt when he heard too many of Fergus's knock-knocks. Sick. Suddenly, Wiglaf had a hunch. Could it be? His heart began to race with excitement. Knock, knock, Wiglaf said again. Who's there? Gorzil mumbled. Howard, called Wiglaf. Howard who? Gorzil asked weakly. Wiglaf yelled. How would you like to hear another rotten joke? Another? Oh! The dragon grasped for air. He clutched at his scaly chest with his claws. Quickly, Wiglaf struck again. Knock, knock. Who's there? Gorzil's head was drooping now. Ivan, Wiglaf shouted. Ivan, who? Gorzil's legs buckled underneath him. He hit the ground. Ivan, stay alive, Wiglaf cried. That did it. Gorzil's chest heaved. His tail lashed one final time and was still. His tongue flopped out the side of his mouth and lay in a puddle of yellow drool. Then, with a thunderous poof, Gorzil's body exploded into a cloud of dragon dust. Eric hiked up his skirt and ran through the dust to Wiglaf's side. By Lancelot's lance, he exclaimed, Gorzil's dead. Then all at once, Wiglaf heard a wild roar. He turned to see hundreds of cheering villagers popping out from behind rocks and trees, villagers who had come to watch them fight the dragon. Joyfully, the villagers began rushing toward them. Wiglaf brushed the dragon dust from his tunic. He readied himself to be lifted up onto their shoulders, to be carried through Tonel. A hero! Out of my way, a villager shouted gruffly, shoving past him. The stampede of villagers followed on his heels. Wiglaf and Eric had to leap behind a boulder to be trampled as the whole crowd charged straight into the cave, straight for Gorzil's hoard. As the two dragon hunters stood staring, a flash lit the sky. Wiglaf looked up just in time to see Shirkil tumble from the clouds, down into a clump of weeds. Nice try, Shirkil, said Wiglaf. Did the villagers have to grab every last bit of Gorzil's hoard? Eric grumbled. By this time, Eric had fetched his sword, and Wiglaf and Eric had found Gawain and Zelda and switched clothes again. Eric told Zelda he was sorry about the burned spots on her dress, but she was so loaded with gold, she did not seem to mind at all. Now Wiglaf and Eric were back on the path to DSA. This time, Eric pulled the cart. I am all for taking from the rich and giving to the poor, Eric went on, but could not the villagers have left us a few gold coins? How shall we ever face Mordred empty-handed? Gorzil stole from the villagers, Wiglaf reminded him. It seems only fair that they should get their gold back. I suppose, muttered Eric, and with a sigh he dragged the cart over a rocky patch of ground. Are you sure you want to pull the cart? Wiglaf asked him. It is the least I can do, Eric told Wiglaf. For in truth, you did slay the mighty dragon. Wiglaf blushed on hearing Eric's words. I could never have done it without you, Eric, he said. It was a clever plan, and you surely fooled Gorzil into thinking you were a girl. For a moment, Eric was silent. Then he stopped and turned to Wiglaf. There is something I should like to tell you, he said gravely. Pray tell, Wiglaf answered. 'Tis a secret, Eric warned him. Will you swear to keep it? I swear it on my sword, Wiglaf promised. He lifted his short kill into the air. My real name, Eric told him, is Erica. Egad, Wiglaf exclaimed. Your parents gave you a girl's name? No, I am a girl, you ninny. In fact, I am a princess. Princess Erica, daughter of Queen Barb and King Ken. Wiglaf's mouth dropped open. I always longed for a life of adventure, Erica explained. When I saw the notice for Dragonslayer's Academy, I begged my parents to let me go, and at last they agreed. But when I arrived at school, Frypot said Mordred would never admit a girl. It was good old Frypot's plan to dress me as a boy. He keeps my secret, and in return, I empty his eel traps. Zounds, Wiglaf exclaimed. Then he added, Forgive me, your highness. None of that highness stuff, the princess growled. She drew her silvery sword and waved it at Wiglaf. You must call me only Eric, and do not slip up. No one at school must know my secret. Not until I get my Dragonslayer's Academy diploma. If you tell anyone, I shall make you very, very sorry. I shall never say a word, Wiglaf promised. And if I do, you may tell my secret. Your secret? Asked Erica. See this lucky rag tied to the hilt of my sword, he asked. It is the last bit of my baby blanket. Erica smiled. Indeed, that is not something that you would want to get around. She gave a yank to the cart handle and started down the path again. Now, Erica went on, let us go over the story we shall tell back at DSA. Since we have no gold, we must make the most of our adventure. Fine idea, Wiglaf agreed. I think, Erica began, that we shall start by telling how I bravely lured Gorzil out of his cave, and how I scared him near to death when I brandished my silvery sword. Then when he least expected it, as Erica talked on, Wiglaf let his own thoughts wander. He had become a hero, just as the minstrel had said he would, and without spilling a single drop of blood. Daisy would be so proud of me, Wiglaf thought. And wouldn't Fergus and Moena and his 12 unwashed brothers be surprised when they learned that he was indeed Wiglaf of Penwick, Dragonslayer? The end. If you are interested in reading more of this series, Dragonslayer's Academy, we have the rest of the series available at Thornton for you to get. And I think we probably also have the books at South Branch for you as well. But this is a really fun series, especially if you're interested in how to slay more dragons. Or at least if you want to know what happens on Wiglaf's second day of school at Dragonslayer's Academy. Thank you guys so much for joining me for, once again, another Book Wizards Book Club. I will see you guys again soon. Bye!